I wanted to take the opportunity to create a video over my personal Zettel. I've been looking at and talking about the Zettelcasting method for some time now, so I think this will be a good time just to provide an overview of how I'm currently creating one, and then maybe later on go into more specifics. There's a lot of information out there for it, but here we go. So in my opinion, there are two tables involved in the Zettelcasting method when you're using a digital platform. For my external tool, I personally use Notion as this external platform. So you have the bibliography, which is your library, and the second one is the slip notes themselves. Now, as far as the library is concerned, that essentially is going to contain the content in which you are currently reading, listening to, etc. And this will provide a citation as well later on when you create your notes or want to go back to maybe even reread that particular content. If we look at the library, the way I like to set it up personally is in this format. I'll put in there the title or something of that reflection of where I got it as far as the author is concerned, and the citation of the specific link, whether that be a podcast or an article or even a book. The drawer that I have right now is I break it up to kind of give me the idea of what it is, whether that being a simple video, a podcast, article, book, etc. The related to slip notes is a connection on the slip notes table to it, and I'll show you that here in a little bit. The tags, I can actually create the tags based upon what the content is if I wish, and the note itself. Sometimes this note will be the expansive article, or it'll be specifics, whether I highlight it into an ebook and then later extract that and place it in the note here. But for the sole purpose of the library, it essentially provides me the ability to have a citation of where that reference came from itself. Now, if we look at the slip notes themselves, if you're familiar with it, as I said before, there are essentially two types of slip notes. All right, So essentially you have the permanent notes, which you want to make it a staple or a permanent note that you don't want to change in the future time. And then you have your fleeting or temporary notes. When you very first start out and you're making the note itself, generally these are the temporary notes, and then later on you have to digest what you're trying to communicate to yourself or future self, or make the note itself. It's interesting because if you read Smart Notes, the book, which is highly recommended, it really cores down and makes the point of don't just copy and paste, because then it's a specific citation based on a reference that you get it, where rather it really emphasizes that you want to make the note in your own words that you yourself understand, and more importantly that your future self would understand. And to me, this does two things. It accomplishes the fact that you're really digesting the content and showing that you understand it in such a way. And two, you don't have to worry later on, oh my, where did I get this? And am I doing a proper citation as far as it being specific? It's in your own words, therefore it's in your own personal content that you can share later on without worrying about that. As far as the slip notes themselves, if I look at this is what I'm attempting to do. I'm attempting to actually, if you look at Zettelcasting, he had up on the top left-hand corner of his note, specific indexing. And then the bibliography library, this is the link to the library table of basically the citation or the reference that I received this note from. The created time is an automatic value that Notion provides me. And the drawer is similar to the other one, and where I'm trying to be concise and make it pretty broad as far as the drawer is concerned. And the note itself, whether that is your own words that you're trying to do. And of course the note type would be the temporary or permanent. I have yet to do anything with the project, although that came with the essential or the particular template that I'm working off of and creating. The unique ID is also a value that Notion created for me. And then of course the number sequence here. And the reason I have a number sequence here as well as in the title, because what I find myself recently doing is not only putting the number up here to try to keep that categorized, but I may also put in a small title to just as a reference or a quick visual of what this note pertains to. Here in a number sequence, I'm going to leave it the same without the title, and the reason is later on I could do sorts by it or lookups. Maybe I want to see a filter down to only the number sequence pertaining to one, which would be one specific topic, and then all the notes that has 1, 1A, 1B, 1B2, etc. would be provided to me on my view. The related to slip notes, sometimes what I'll do here is I'll actually reference one note to another. So as an example, if I have a 1A, then on my related to slip notes, this would actually be a 1, if that makes sense. And then of course any of the comments I could create later on, but trying to go with the Smart Notes books and the Zettel method, what you want to do on your notes is try to atomicize them as much as possible. What that means is make them very fine and very specific. You don't want to have a paragraph at all possible. These are individual thoughts or notes that you're taking on here. So basically, yeah, this is what I'm working on right now on my bibliography and my slip notes. I don't know exactly the quantity I have right now. I think I have 30 reference, and I have no idea how many slip notes I have. I'm also kind of, with Notion, you can have different views. So you can have the table view, you can have the board view, and sometimes this helps as far as visually trying to find, hey, I remember I looked at something, and then I go in and I try to identify that. But with a digital platform, a quick find is real easy to do search on the specific topics at hand. Hope it helps.